Consider supporting Dan the Fireman on Patreon for just $1 a month. More information and link below.
What is up, everybody? Here we go. Got my visor down. It's a little bright out right now. We're going to be talking about keeping your distance. So the reason why I don't talk a lot about, how to ride on the road and what's best, because to be quite honest, I'm not an instructor. I'm not going to proclaim that I am an expert, that I ride, on the track and like I have this special instructions and stuff. No, I'm an average rider just like you. These are things that I learned and I want to be able to just share with you, so we're going to learn together, basically. So we're going to be talking about how to keep your distance and why you should keep your distance from everything on the road. Not just cars, but like stuff on the side of the road, like this dirt, maybe some tar snakes, some of these cracks that might mess you up, and why you should keep your distance from everything. So basically, the best protection you have on a motorcycle, and in a car too, to some extent, but the best protection you have on a motorcycle is to keep your distance and have a distance between threats. Cars are threats. Those bumps I just went over is a threat. This guardrail is a threat. Different things on the roads are threats, and you always have to be aware. Now, to keep your distance, you have this massive lane. It looks like it's massive when you're on a motorcycle. In a car, in a big truck, it feels like you're just kind of squeezing in. But on a motorcycle, you have this massive lane. So right here, this is lane position number 1, inside your own lane. Lane position number 2 is in the center of your big lane. Lane position number 3 is more towards the right. Okay, so now that we have that set up, that's just the basics of how to diagnose and to dissect, there you go, your lane. So that position you're in currently needs to increase how much you see, so your own visibility, and how much you are seen. So usually position number 1 is really good when there's cars coming ahead because they see you. You're almost closest to them, but you're kind of in their point of view, their visibility area, so you're seen. Now right now, this is kind of like a blind turn, so I'm more so in position number 2, so where I can see around this curve. So notice how I said that you can switch and you can keep moving around. You need to use every single position in order for you to be seen and for you to be able to see the road and see other hazards. Always do head checks. I get my own lane right here. I'm in position number 3 because I don't like that car. I don't see any hazards over here. Okay, cool. We are going to move back into position number 1. Another thing that you need to do when it comes to the lane position, you can either accelerate, decelerate, you can move left or right depending on, 1, 2, and 3. Now, one thing that you have to do is you need to avoid others' blind spots. This also applies to cars, but more so in motorcycles because you're such a tiny target. You need to avoid blind spots. If that car is like right in front of me and I'm in their blind spot, I can either decelerate to get out of the way, accelerate to get ahead of them or out of their blind spot, or move over so that I'm not so close. That gives you that cushion, that gives you that lane 1 and 2 spread, so if they start merging into your lane, you can either decelerate, apply the brakes, or accelerate to get out of it. You need to find that position. So once again, if somebody was on the right side, if there was another lane right there, and I was in their blind spot, I'd move over position 1. So you're constantly moving different positions so that you maintain a safe profile. Now you also need to protect your lane from other drivers. Protecting your lane basically means go be seen. So when that person, you're in that blind spot, accelerate to where you are in now, right next to them. So they see you. That is you protecting. They will not merge into your lane if they see you. Another thing you can do is honk your horn. That's not very loud. Your horn's not super loud compared to a car, but use it. Just use it or rev it. You need to be seen and heard. So protect your lane. If you prevent them from ever going into your lane, you're already ahead of the schedule. You're ahead of the ball. They will not go into your lane then. Now you need to communicate your intentions. Okay. That is basically using hand signals if you're going to turn, if you don't have turn signals, or use your electronic turn signals. So you need to communicate your intentions. Tap the brakes if you plan on stopping up ahead. Tap it. It looks like it's turning yellow. You're not going to accelerate through. Don't let the person behind you think you're going to accelerate through and they're going to gun it. Tap your brakes and then slow down. You need to telegraph basically your intentions of what's going on. Let's go ahead and turn left. I think we're going a little too far. I'm having too much fun. Another thing you need to do with keeping your distance is you need to avoid Windblast. I think a lot of us that have been riding for a while, ooh, that was a wide ass U-turn. Trying to focus on talking at the same time. All right, so Windblast. Have you ever felt that in a car when you are driving on a, like, let's say this is an oncoming traffic lane, so this is like a yellow line you can't pass or whatever, and a big semi comes and you're in a car and you feel that it's like that real quick, that is called wind blast. It is so much more on a motorcycle. So to avoid that, let's say this is an oncoming lane and a big semi's coming and you're over here in lane position number 1. You see it coming. Get over to lane position number 3. That is a threat. That is an obstacle. You need to maintain and keep your distance. So when it does pass by that wind blast, you're not going to feel it as much as if you did if you're going to feel it right there. Same thing on this side. If all of a sudden somebody is like just gunning it, for some reason you're on a motorcycle and like this big, there you go, this big car just like is gunning it. They're speeding. You're doing the speed limit. You're doing 70 on the interstate. They're doing 100 or something. They're just obnoxious. You see them in the mirrors. Let's say he's coming up behind me on my left. I see him in my mirror. I can kind of check and I'm like, oh shit. So I scoot over. Boom, he goes. You're going to feel less of a wind blast. That is actually a very dangerous thing. Wind blast will kind of knock you off balance, especially if you're not paying attention. So you really need to pay attention to keep your distance from that. So here's the thing that I always do. Always provide for an escape route. Always. So when I get up to an intersection, I always get, this is kind of a hard spot because there's no cars in front of me, but I always get in between, basically my front tire between every car. This guy is sharing the lane with me, which I don't like. Now, I kind of gave him that position to where if he felt like he's just going to go, he has enough room to go. For me, I have an escape route. Right now, it's really just to gun it, to get in front. When we start moving again, I'll show you a little bit more of the escape routes and what I'm thinking at the time. So here we go. Ooh, that guy is gunning. All right, so escape routes usually is when cars are like around you. Right now, maintaining and keeping your distance from the cars after an intersection, the best thing you can do is just get out of there. Get out of there. Get up to speed. It's quicker than everyone else. Accelerate. Right now it's 45. I'm 45. Just kind of getting out of there. So right now I see there's a car right behind me. He's kind of being an ass. There's a white SUV in my left in the lane next to me. And then there's this car right here. All right. So right now we have this car in front of me. Okay. My escape routes. There's a bike lane to the right. So if I absolutely had to, we're on a motorcycle. It's very slim. I can do my escape route. So if he slams the brakes, I can either move to the right or move to the left. Right now I'm in lane number 1 because the biggest section that I have to swerve out of and into is this massive lane to my left. Now, to maintain my escape route, to protect that lane so that I have that as an option, I'm also maintaining contact with the white SUV behind me through my mirror, and I'm doing a head check always to make sure that no one's in my blind spot. So if something happens where he slammed the brakes, I am able to escape to my left, and there's that bike lane to my right, so I'd have to cross my whole lane, my lane 2 and 3 into that bike lane, and I could do that. So right now, this is a pretty good one. I have 2 escape routes, but that is something that I always do. And I feel like that saves me in a lot of situations, more so than knowing that I could just hit the brakes and then kind of maybe lane split. But I never put myself in a position to where I don't have an escape route. If I feel like I don't have one, or I'm coming into a position where I don't have an escape route, I don't go into it. I either just accelerate as fast as I can to get out of that position and keep my distance from other cars, or I just get myself into a position to where I have an escape route. Right now, my distance between the cars in front of me is golden. I don't have to worry too much about an escape route. I have one on the right, and I still have one on the left if I have to. No one's behind me. So always maintain that situational awareness. But guys, that right there is probably the absolute best tip I can give you when it comes to riding in traffic, is maintain that situational awareness and have escape routes. But all those tips that I just gave you, those are things that you really need to practice, day in, day out when you're driving, and day in, day out when you're riding a motorcycle. It's just something to maintain, something to constantly to work on. With that said, though, that's the end of that for keeping your distance. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please click that subscribe button. Right next to it is a notification bell button. When you click that, you are notified every single time I post a video. This is going to be a new video series about how to, be prepared for your motorcycle license and the test. And this right here is one of the topics that you have to learn to be proficient and to actually pass your written test. So guys, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys later.